All right. Hello, everyone. Let's see. Get my notifications coming in. I pray that everyone's doing well. I'm Dr. Juanita Mercer, and this is day 5 of 8 days to Unstuck, which has been so exciting to talk about because I'm excited about the projects, the initiatives that are being made, done, created, thought about, prayed about, that is going to be a blessing to so many people. You just have to do your part. You have to put in the work and get unstuck. Committed to this. I'm telling you, it's going to be so worth it. If it was easy, everyone would do it, right? If it was easy what you're trying to do, everyone would do it. Um, and it wouldn't be so important to you. So please keep that in mind. And that the mere fact that you're stuck still says that you're in progress, that you have gotten it started. And that is something to celebrate. Okay. So don't get down on yourself. Look, hey, you're in progress, and that's important. Okay. So for those of you who are just joining me or seeing this for the first time, um, again, this is 8 days to unstuck. At the beginning of June, I declared June, the month of in progress, not quite there, undeveloped, work in progress. Because number 7 come July, what do we focus on? Completion. We're getting it complete. So right now, we're learning all the tools that we need to have and the things that we need to consider in order to get unstuck and get done. Okay. And so right now, please like, share, tag people, comment, react. Let me know that, this is helping you. Um, so often, people see me out and they're like, I'm watching, I'm really enjoying this. And I'm like, that's so great. But hey, if you're loving it, share it. If you like it, comment, react. Let me know. Tag people. Be a blessing to other people because what they're working on is going to be a blessing to you. Okay? So engage with me. So today is day 5. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on recapping because at the beginning, my intent was to really keep these to like 15 to 20 minutes. And I've been like at 25, 29, 33. And so I do want to be more cognizant of that. So today, sorry, I clicked on the wrong one. Today is day 5, and it is communication. We're talking about communication, which is so important. When I think about personal issues, yes, but my focus mainly is like organizational issues and things that we deal with as leaders. The two biggest things that we will have issues with that affect everything else. How do we lead change? And how do we communicate? And they go together. If you don't focus on having a great communication plan and really being intentional in how you communicate the change that needs to happen, it won't be successful. But likewise, if you're trying to continue to motivate people to change, which is what? Leadership. That's what leadership is. Yes, it's power. Yes, it's influence, right? But it's also the motivation, um, the ability to motivate people to change. That's what leadership is. Okay. And so you have to be able to communicate well with people. And it has to have a lot of intent behind it. Let's get some wisdom from Proverbs. So Proverbs 16 and 23 says, from a wise mind comes wise speech. The words of the wise are persuasive. Yes, so what you say with intent should be words of wisdom. It doesn't mean that everything you say is going to be nice and easy but words of wisdom have the ability to touch people's hearts and inspire them to change. to motivate them to make the necessary changes in their life. And whatever project or initiative that you're wanting to bring forth, that's basically what you're wanting to do. You're wanting to be persuasive to people you're working with, to people that you're serving, to people that you're being sent to, right? So we have to be intentional about this and really pray for God to increase our wisdom. And then also Proverbs 18 and 21 says, the tongue can bring death or life. Those who love to talk will reap the consequences. What consequences? That's your decision. It really is, right? Because it's saying, hey, those who love to talk will reap the consequences. But if you love to talk death and kill people with your words, crushing them, right? Speaking curses over people and over the things that you're doing and your projects and initiatives, guess what? It will die. It will die, okay? But if you speak life over it, if you speak life over the people that you're called to partner with and walk with and serve, you will see life come forth. So the consequences are our decision, right? And how we choose to use our tongue, our words. And so that's something that we really need to keep in mind as we talk about these things. So now let's get into what exactly a communication plan is. How do we really be intentional about our plan? Okay. And so let's look at how do we put together a communication plan, right? And so I don't know if you really have, a lot of times you go to conferences, you go to workshops and things, it's like, have a communication plan, right? And it's great, it's awesome. But then it's like, when have you actually created one? Right? Um, and so for me, my heart and my intent is that for every workshop that I do to really be considered a studio, a time to build and create. And so that's what I want this to be for you. Is this opportunity to really take this tool and say, okay, I need to create some studio time to create a communication plan that is going to be intentional, that is going to be, full of values and mission and vision for my purpose or my initiative so that I can do it with wisdom and persuade people to react in the way that I hope they will, and pray they will. And so let's walk through how we do this. Number one, you should identify your target audience. You have your communication plan for different audiences. For example, you might need to come up with, how do I talk with my partners? How do I talk with the people who are called to walk with me in this project or initiative? Right? And so that's something that you're not necessarily doing with other people, but you're going in prayer. You're saying, like, God, give me wisdom and like how to talk to them about these things. Right? So you see how a communication plan can really work for you in your personal relationships, right? As well as your business relationships. It's just having better intent, right? And so, who are you talking to? Are you talking to business partners? Are you talking to potential investors? Are you talking to your many different stakeholders? Your employees, your customers, your community members, your board member. Are you talking to your spouse? Are you talking to your child? Are you talking to your pastor? Are you talking to your leadership at your church? Who are you talking to? Are you talking to potential clients? Right? So think about who you're talking to and identify them first, and then you can develop the plan around them. Number two, establish objectives of your communication. What is it that you're talking about? What's your point? Right? What's the task here? What's your intent? Is it to you know give information? We're gonna actually let me go to another slide since we're talking about this. Smart talks, right? Thinking about smart goals. I am kind of calling this smart talks. And when I was putting this together, I really started to think about, gosh, Sometimes it's difficult to understand what exactly is worth communicating, what is worth sending that email, making that video, all these different things, and how we communicate with people. Because too often we get communications, we're inundated with communications, and in the back of our mind, we're thinking, really? Did they really need to take the time to communicate this? Was this really important? Is it relevant? Right? So let's talk about this for a second. Smart talks. Make sure that the objective of your communication meets one of these things. Okay. To provide a solution to a problem, a real problem. Okay. Or to provide a mandate or to commission a task. Like this is where you make your ask. Maybe you're needing something to happen. You're needing to see something, right? You're wanting to get people to do something, to react to something. That's the mandate. And that can look like many different things. Or you're providing an answer to a pressing question. It's a relevant question. Is that a question you created? No, it's a question that the audience has, right? With your intent. So you're providing a very clear and coherent answer to a pressing question. Or you're providing a resource. You're giving them something to use, a tool, like how I'm communicating right now. Like my point is to provide a resource to you to problems I know that you have, right? Relevant resources. So that could be a way of even working through your social media or putting together emails, however you want to do that. But make sure you provide a resource. And then also, sometimes your point of communicating is just to say thank you. Ah, we need more of that. Just to say thank you. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your provision. Thank you for showing up. Right? Just thank you for being who you are. Right? Thank you. And again, no matter where you work, no matter what sector, no matter what your project or initiative, this is relevant to that. Be smart in how you communicate. Provide a solution, a mandate, an answer, a resource, or to say thank you. Okay. Now, this does not say, gosh, call out people's problems. Yes, of course you can do that, but make sure you're also providing the solution to it as well, right? Um, yes, you can provide a mandate to tell people to do something or to, give information that they need in order to make something happen. But make sure you're giving clear instructions, right? Make sure you're giving clear direction as to, what the mandate is and include the why. So this is how you communicate the smart way. Okay. So make sure your objectives align with that. So now we can go back. That was number two. Number three, determine your medium. How are you going to communicate with your audience? Is it through a phone call? Is it a text? Is it a push notification? Is it an email? Is it a video? Is it social media? Is it a personal visit? There's so many different mediums, right? Face to face, all of that. Is it Zoom? Is it, a recorded video? Is it a live video? Why? Because your medium is going to help serve your purpose. Okay. And so it all needs to align with that. And there's so many different mediums that to choose from these days, which is a blessing. But we also have to realize that every medium doesn't serve the same purpose. So, for example, if you want people to record information and for people to be able to reread it, to be able to follow it, to have it, to put that instruction or mandate in many different forms, then of course you want to make sure it's written, right? In whichever way. If it's something quick, easy to remember, short information, that could be a phone call, that could be, a text, right? But if you're going to need to provide people with many resources to go with it, a link, a video, you want to attach something to it, you want to have other instructions, right? then an email would probably be better. Or providing that information packaged together on a website where they can download it all together or something. So, all of that you have to think about. You have to think about privacy. Which mediums are going to provide you with the privacy that you're looking for? Is it an exclusive audience, right? If that's the case, then providing resources on live may not be the way to do it unless it's in like a Facebook group or something like that. Perhaps doing it through Zoom is better, right? So again, you have to consider all these different mediums and the pros and cons of using them, but again, in alignment with your purpose. Number 4, write copy. I like to use the word copy. I think of it from a more, marketing journalistic standpoint. That is just whatever the content, it's the writing for your website. It's the writing for that text. It's the writing for that article, that blog, right? It's the writing for that video script. So write the copy that you need and make sure you're using um, keywords. Be careful of your connotation of words. And when I say connotation, if you're not familiar with that word, connotation simply means what feelings are associated with that word. Right. Oh gosh, I can't really think of any context where that's not important. Think about your audience. What words make them feel happy? Which words would they consider to be offensive, right? Which words make them feel welcomed? So make sure you use words in alignment with your target audience as to what feelings you hope to instill with certain keywords. Okay, so that's just a tip with that. Okay, number 5, determine your graphics, links, and attachments, right? So whatever graphics you need in alignment with your um, communication, right? Make sure you have all of that together. Don't be too quick to send out a communication or a message, but you haven't yet put together the graphics and the links and the attachments and everything that goes along with that. Or maybe it's a video that you need to create. So make sure you get the appropriate timeline that fits with that. If there's a form that you need to create because you want people to be able to respond to a form or something that you need. Make sure all of that is created. Make sure you've tested it to make sure that it's good. Now, of course, will you make mistakes with this? Yes, absolutely. Right? Even with a mindset of excellence, you will make mistakes. I do all the time. But the important thing is to learn, to correct, and try to minimize those same mistakes moving forward. Right? And then number 6, determine your frequency. Um, so frequency means, how often do you need to communicate this? Is it weekly? Is it monthly? Is it just once a year? Is it a certain time of the year? Is it, you know, the frequency of that? Gosh, I always get these ideas and things when I'm talking. One thing else I would add here is just not to determine your frequency, but also to determine the right time, right? The right time to communicate something. We understand that importance in personal relationships. Maybe we don't. Maybe that's why we have some of the problems we do have. But and the timing of communication is important as well. So make sure you really put some thought into the right timing. Is there anything else that you would add, right? Is there any other communication plan tidbits that you would add as well here? Because gosh, I'm sure we could keep this growing and growing and growing. But if I had to add a 7, gosh, off the top of my head, this happened yesterday too. I would add, make sure you really put some thought into the right timing of your communication piece. Okay. Um, so now that you kind of know how to put together a communication plan, I want you to still though have this in mind. 93% of effective communication is nonverbal. I know, you're thinking, girl, why didn't you lead with that? Well, because the truth of the matter is we still have to put a lot of thought into what we communicate verbally. We do. Because the thing that about verbal communication, which does take a lot of courage to do, is the fact that people can reread it for years, centuries, to come. And it can always be reinterpreted as well. I think about when we are talking about literature and how what literature meant maybe 1 year, 5 years, a decade after it was written can be very different for what it means to us 100 years later, 200, 400 years later, right? Um, and so that's why writing and putting things into words takes a lot of courage. And so, but we do have to at least acknowledge the fact that, but mostly, most of the effective communication is nonverbal. It's what people observe. It's what people kind of overhear. It's how you make people feel, you know? Um, and that is important here. And I use the word connotation again because sometimes it's not what you said, it's just how you said it. It's the tone and all of that that you make people feel a certain way, even though that may not have been your intent. And people are watching, your partners, the people you walk with, you lead, your employees, your constituents, your stakeholders, they are watching all the time. So we do have to also realize that, have a your nonverbal communication plan, because the idea here is to always be aware that you say more to people with your actions than your words. Okay, so be sincere, be consistent, and be transparent. That's so important. Be sincere. It's hard to keep up a mask, a facade, of being someone else. You just have to be yourself. And I'm a true believer that what comes from the heart reaches the heart. And I certainly do also trust the work of, the Holy Spirit, that even when our full intent isn't there, or we didn't put a lot of time and energy as to what we needed to put into it, but I do believe that there's a principle component that if you just come from a sincere place, right, that everything else will kind of work out. Um, be consistent as well. Gosh, people are watching. They want you to be consistent. They see the kind of back and forth, um, and sometimes we can seem all over the place. Probably even I do sometimes. I'm doing my best to be consistent, in my messaging and my actions and what I do and how I do it, because I know people are watching, and that is important to me. Because again, what I demonstrate, what I show through my even my facial expressions and how I talk about things, right? I hope you see the passion that I have for this, because otherwise, what I say won't add up to a whole lot, right? I saw this phrase on social media recently. It's like the math ain't mathin', right? So it's like it's not adding up. So be consistent and then be transparent. And I think this is so important that even when you can't be consistent, as long as you're being transparent, it's like the magic eraser. It's like as long as you're being transparent, it's like, you know what? I'm sorry, you're probably seeing a lot of inconsistency. This is why. I have to be honest. Like these are some things that I've run into, some concerns, right? And people will understand. Well, mostly, right? It won't always be 100%. But, being transparent is kinda like that magic eraser of fixing people's misconceptions about you or that thing or that initiative, that otherwise left unsaid, it wouldn't be there. So, I hope that this has been really informative and helpful, to you. So please let me know what your thoughts are. Again, if you want to add some things to the content, please do be a blessing to the people by adding other things that you feel should be a component of a good communication plan and what people should consider in communicating. Today was day 5, but it's not over. Join me tomorrow for day 6 as we talk about influences. And I give you tools to assess what other of the outside influences that could be keeping you stagnant and keeping you stuck in your project or initiatives. Okay. For more information from me, you want to learn more, you want to contact me, please do that on all social media at Dr. Juanita Mercer. I pray that you all have a wonderful Monday and have a blessed week. And remember, in everything you do and with everything you have, love God and love people. Goodbye, y'all.